there, Senators. We're going to try this again. We lost the last stream, so I had to reset everything. Welcome back for those of you who were in the last stream. I was wishing everybody, or hoping that everyone had a good Labor Day weekend, and just excited to be here and talking about Ahsoka Episode 4. So, like I was saying in the last stream, this stream is brought to you by the Senators of the channel. If you want to become a true member and Senator of the channel, make sure you hit that join button next to the subscribe button on the channel page, and you can become a Senator of the channel. Let me make sure There we go. We're just all over the place. There was a storm that rolled through just a little bit ago, and I think that's causing some internet issues. Yet here we are. I know we had Senator Tony, who is a senator of the channel, in the last chat. He raised a good theory. And then we have Senator Kat Spaz joining us. Welcome, Senator Kat Spaz. Let me see. I'm going to see if I can invite Journeyman onto the stream real quick. Give me just a minute here. We're just chilling on this stream, everybody. There's nothing formal about this. Okay. We'll see if he hops on here in a little bit. I have a senator in the channel. Manny Mac says, when does it come out tonight? So, Manny Mac, it will come out at 8 o'clock Central Time. That's when it will come out for me. For you, basically, just add about an hour to wherever you're at right now, and that's when it comes out. So, we'll be talking up until about that time, and then we'll end the stream, go watch the episode, and then join back tomorrow night for full reaction and kind of like a semi breakdown of the episode. That's what we'll do tomorrow night. So tonight we're just going to talk some theories and what we can predict. I'm going to see if I can get Journeyman on here in a little bit. But welcome to everybody. Hope you all are doing fantastic. Like I said at the beginning, become a join member. You get access to the loyalty badges that you'll see in the live chat or in the comments section of my videos. You also get custom emojis. You'll also get members only polls and members only live streams. So for sure, hit that join button, become a true senator of the channel. But all of you here are senators of this channel. Could not appreciate your support more. Let's get right into our predictions for this episode. So everyone who's in the chat, throw in your predictions and I'll bring them up on the screen here and we'll talk about them. Here, now we're in the good old Galactic Senate. This is Star Wars democracy after all. So I don't even know where to begin. I've heard so much speculation going around about this episode. It seems like there's a ton that could be happening. So obviously the first prediction I have is, we're obviously going to see a bunch of lightsaber fights. I don't know if you all saw, I've been trying to catch up with all the Star Wars news, like I was saying in the other stream. I was over Labor Day, I kind of took a break from YouTube. I didn't really work on any videos or anything like that. So, yeah, that's kind of what I was doing. But I didn't catch up on all the subscriptions and creators that I watch. I didn't really watch any of their videos. So I've kind of been in the dark leading up to this episode. But I think we all know what we're going to get, right? We're going to get all the lightsaber fights that we haven't seen from the trailers. We should be seeing in tonight's episode. So that's the lightsaber fight with Merrick and Ahsoka. That's the lightsaber fight with Shin and Sabine. That's the lightsaber fight with Ahsoka and Balin. All of those lightsaber fights, that's what we're expecting to see in tonight's episode. On top of that, are we going to get the identity of Merrick, the Inquisitor? There's been a lot of speculation about that. Are we going to learn more about Balin and, what his backstory is? Who is his master? There's been a lot of theories about that. Could his master maybe be Plo Koon? That's a theory that's going out there. So Lots of fun things to discuss and talk about. I think I may have got Journeyman on the stream here. Journeyman, I don't see your camera. Oh, there's your camera. Let me see. Let me get you added here. There we go. Looks like you're on mute. Let me unmute you. There
Hello,
we go.
everyone.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. We'll see how long this lasts, and if it crashes again, it crashes again. I've kind of already went through all the theories, so hey, if this is only a 5-minute live stream, it's only a 5-minute live stream. It says Manny Mac here says, so California is 9 o'clock. Awesome. So you'll be watching at 9 o'clock, Manny Mac. That is fantastic. And we got Senator Tony, a true senator of the channel, ladies and gentlemen. He's back. So welcome to you, Tony, and everybody who's watching. So, okay, so we were just talking before the stream and before all of this happens. Senator Tony says, I predict you will not crash. I really hope that that prediction is true, because we are dealing with lots of technical difficulties. Nothing like a good old thunderstorm. But Tony, by the way, I didn't get to fully read your last chat message, your theory. It looked like a really good theory, though, so make sure to repost that. I want to be able to bring it up and talk about it. But Journeyman, you and I were talking about how I feel like it's like it's been a long time since last week. I feel like the
Yeah.
last episode of Ahsoka was a long time ago, and it was a good episode. I mean, you and I talked about it, and like it introduced a
Mhm.
lot of fun things, a lot of good things. But how are you feeling in going into tonight's episode?
I actually am really excited about the episodes coming up because funny enough, I was trying to stay away from all the content that's um, out there, you know. So,
Mm-hmm.
funny enough, I was on YouTube and an Ahsoka trailer came up, and it was stuff that I've never heard before,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to spoil anything, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm really going to enjoy this. I think we're all gonna really enjoy these next few episodes. I'm not
So
sure if it's the next step this next episode, or the future ones, but I'm gonna be really excited for it.
yeah, so I think the biggest question on everybody's mind maybe is who Merrick is. And I know that there's been a lot of spoilers, and I guess they're leaks or rumors or whatever you call them. We don't have to get into them right now, and I'll make sure to warn people if we do go too deep into spoiler territory. But do
Mhm.
you think we're going to get the identity of Merrick revealed tonight?
It would be nice, they've been throwing us a bone with this character all this time, like, who's this masked guy? But then again, we didn't get Mando's reveal until season 2 or whatever, so
Mm-hmm.
they could keep him sealed and all that, and we have no clue. It would be nice, but
Yeah,
I'm not I'm not really sure though. I I don't know what I want him to be, honestly.
yeah. Well, the next question is, I guess, because okay, so we've talked about before how the theories out there is that it's Star Killer Galen Merrick, and
Mhm.
how that would just be awesome. Do you think that he's going to die in this episode? I titled the stream "Everyone Dies" because we'll get into this, but the leading theories I would say out there, and I know some people in circles that I go with on YouTube are saying that this is not right, but I'm almost convinced. But I titled the stream "Everyone Dies" because I literally think everyone might die in a weird universe or weird turn of events. I literally think everyone could die in terms of our main characters in this show in tonight's episode. However, I do think that we will definitely see a few characters die. Do you think we're going to see Merrick die?
Um, I think he
Inquisitor.
probably hang yeah, I think he hangs on, or that character Merrick at least hangs on one more episode. At least that's my prediction.
Do you think Shin will die? I know we've talked. Have you been in the streams where we've discussed the image that Tony created? Which, by the way, Tony, you're an internet sensation because I've seen all the creators and YouTubers talk about your image. In fact, I think last night on Nerd Theory, Josh and Theory were bringing up an image that you were the one to create. And by the way, it was in my Discord, and then it got out, and then I think maybe you also gave it to Cantina Talk because I think Cantina Talk covered it and they gave credit to Cantina Talk, and I know that you watch Cantina Talk. But Tony, you're an internet sensation. Congratulations, um, and you're a senator of my channel. Let me just remind everybody of that before they try to claim you. So anyway, have you seen the image of Shin
I
that
don't
Tony
think so.
created?
No,
Okay, it's in the Discord. You'll have to go in
it's.
my Discord and find it
I'll
if
look.
you want to. But there's
Yeah,
literally an image out there that Tony grabbed. He slowed down the trailer, one of the trailers, and you literally can see. I'm convinced. I'm 98% sure that it's Shin, and it looks like Shin is dead or
uh,
injured or whatever. Um,
question, where would it be at?
mhm.
Would it be in the spoilers?
Yeah, go to the spoiler section. That's where it should be. But it literally, I would pull it up, but I don't want to break the internet. Literally. So, yeah, go to my Discord. It's there. You'll have to give me your thoughts on that. But there's Tony, a senator of the channel, literally pulled an image from the trailer. He slowed down the trailer, grabbed an image, and it does appear that Shin's body is laying on the ground. Don't know if she's dead. Don't know if she's injured. Don't know if she's knocked out or what's going on. But I think we could see some crazy stuff tonight. Uh, and Senator Kathleen Katzpaz, I saw your comment as well. I want to get to that in a little bit, but we're kind of going to spoiler territory on that, so I'll save it for just a little bit.
I don't see it, but I do think. I will say I do think Shin dies. I
You think
mean
Shin
that.
dies? Okay.
I think that's. I've been thinking that for a while. I mean, I feel like she's not. I think with. I don't know if they did it this way or not, but with the
Mm-hmm.
untimely death of like the actual actor Balin,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be weird. But either she hangs on because that's what they kind of wrote in. They could go one of two directions, and they probably had two
Mm-hmm.
different edits or whatever. But since
Mm-hmm.
Balin is actually his the real actor dies, Shin might just hang on. That'd be, I think, a good prediction. But
Yeah.
I feel like what they did and what like the final cut is, I think Shin dies because I don't feel like she's like the main person in this. Like she just feels like she feels like a tag along to a tag along. If you get that.
Yeah. So let's just dive into the real craziness. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you heard the theory that there's some speculation going around? I'm not even close to the theory spilling around. Here we go again. Here we go again. Can you still hear me?
Yep.
There we go. Okay. There's some theory and speculation going around that Ahsoka dies in this episode. Have you heard that?
No, I haven't. I honestly haven't heard it. I
Okay.
although
There's
although I will say, just because we're in it now, I did hear. I think Tony posted it what I saw, but the trailer for tonight's episode, I
mhm.
think we. This is just my prediction and what I'm thinking. I think we get Anakin tonight.
Okay. In what capacity?
I think we're going to get somewhat of a scene because in the trailer, from what I heard, is she Anakin does say Ahsoka. Like I've never heard Hayden say Ahsoka before, but that was his voice, and I heard him say Ahsoka. Like, he says,
Hmm.
"I trust you, Ahsoka," or something of that nature. It was something
I know you
Ahsoka.
can do this, Ahsoka.
Yeah,
Hmm.
and I feel like I feel like we're getting something with Anakin. I feel like it's either during the because there is that Balin fight, right, with Ahsoka?
Yes, that's gonna happen tonight.
I feel like it's gonna be somewhere around there.
So let me tell you the theory of what's going on, and it involves Ahsoka the
Sure,
White, which I'm really excited about. I'll give you the version that I think is plausible, and then I'll give you a really interesting version that I don't think is plausible, but also could happen. Um, what I'm thinking could happen is I think Ahsoka literally will die tonight. There is a
interesting.
theory slash rumor going out there, some speculation that was posted by, I believe, credible sources, that in some point in the Ahsoka series, there's supposed to be a, a scene where Ahsoka is underwater, or there's water, or something like that. Okay, which is
Interesting.
interesting already because that just doesn't. I don't know. When you hear that, it's like it doesn't necessarily ring Star Wars. But what do we know about this planet that has water on it? And the
Mhm,
where Balin and Ahsoka, they're on like a cliff where there's water. And
mhm,
so I'm thinking, I literally think that Shin could die, and out
mhm,
of Balin, like that could send Balin over completely to the dark side, and he
mhm,
just goes full blown, and Ahsoka can't handle it,
mhm.
and he either kills her or tosses her in the water and drowns her or whatever. I think that's where that scene could come into play, and I think we might quite literally have this episode end with Ahsoka being presumed dead. And I think you
Interesting.
might get is I think you might get a scene with Anakin where Anakin we hear Anakin's voice at the end of tonight's episode, like Ahsoka or something like that. Like I know you can do this,
Mhm.
Ahsoka, or something. Maybe not though. But I do think next episode is where we're rumored to get the most of Anakin. I don't know. You've
Yeah,
probably heard that episode 5. So that's where Hayden Christensen will actually appear. I think you'll get the Mustafar scene. I think you'll get all of the things that we've heard and been speculating on for months now. I think you'll see in the next episode. We also know that that's supposed to take place in the world between worlds. I think what you might get is something similar to what we see with Rey in the Rise of Skywalker,
that's what I was
where
about to say.
she's
Yeah,
basically dead and all the Jedi speak to her and basically resurrect her, and I think that could be what's happening here. Is like we see Ahsoka basically left for dead. All of the next episode is her in the world between worlds, realizing, getting this lesson of destiny, realizing that there's nothing she could have done to save Anakin, and through all this, she'll basically muster up enough energy to survive. And maybe she doesn't go back and defeat Balin, but she literally just musters up the energy to survive,
yeah.
and she
I
comes
like
back.
the which in that case, having Anakin give a lesson on destiny and telling her and also kind of telling her himself, like, there's nothing kind of how do I say this? Not rectifying or how do I say that? Not justifying what he did, but being like,
Mhm.
there's nothing that you could have done that would have changed me because I was
Yes.
already going down this path. Like accepting of myself and of Ahsoka to be like,
Mhm.
this was both our destinies. Like I understand I hurt you so much, but at the same time being like this was your path.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's what happens next episode. But to focus
Yeah.
on this episode, a theory that this is, and I can't take credit for this. This is Josh's theory from last night on Nerd Theory. Tell me what you think of this. This sounds even more crazy. He thinks, and I think he's serious, that tonight's episode is just going to be a bloodbath. Sabine could die. Uh, Shin could die. Merrick will die. Ahsoka will die. I don't know if he thinks Balin will die, but he thinks all these people are going to die, including Ahsoka. Ahsoka again goes into the world between worlds where she has the interaction with Anakin, because we know that the world between worlds is described as the conduit between the living and the dead. It's a place where both the living and the cosmic force kind of intersect. It's obviously all time. We all know what
Yeah.
the world between worlds is at this point, but he thinks that that's going to happen. You'll get the scenes that have been rumored,
Hmm.
and then he thinks that at that point, Ahsoka then becomes Ahsoka the White, travels back in
Interesting.
time, and redoes the events and relives the events of this. And that's where the epilogue scene comes back, because it's going back in time. Everybody's dead, takes the world between worlds, goes back in times, and then redoes the events that lead up to what we see tonight. I think that that's crazy. Star Wars Curmudgeon also thinks it's crazy. Curmudgeon here says, please, no Rey's all the Jedi crap, lol. I would agree. I don't think it's going to be that stupid, but maybe something similar to that. Filoni needs to do better than that. And then follows up and says, I think Nerd Theory's credibility dies tonight. Oh no, my light. Why is all the
Did it?
technical difficulties happening to me tonight?
Yeah.
Whatever. All the technical difficulties. Let me turn on the light real quick. You respond to that theory.
I I feel like that would be a sequel move on Dave's part. As much as I love the world between worlds, he already has some unwritten rules that he already has some basically written rules of a world between worlds. If we go back to the episode in uh, Rebels, Ahsoka says to Ezra, you can't save your master, and I can't save mine," which means that if you go back and replay the events of what has already happened, then you're it's kind of like the Back to the Future event too. Like your future self will not be where you are. And essentially, Ezra would have already died, so he would have never got to a world between worlds. So I feel like if we're going down that path, I would have to say it's probably sequel esque of Dave. Like you're kind of like that's on the level of the sequels, in my opinion. If that's Josh's theory and it actually comes true, I feel like he's already breaking rules that he already set in a world between worlds.
Yeah,
So that's what I think.
like I said, I don't necessarily think that I don't think that that is going to be the case,
No,
but
and I
I do
wouldn't
think we
suspect it
could
either.
get a scen- I do think we could get a scenario in which Ahsoka almost dies or does die, goes to the world between worlds, becomes it has this transformation into Ahsoka the White, and then we see her come back as Ahsoka the White. Which I am not a Lord of the Rings, like I shouldn't say I'm not a Lord of the Rings fan. I've never seen Lord of the Rings, but we keep making this comparison, and Dave has made the comparison too to Gandalf. And if anybody in the chat has watched Lord of the Rings, I think maybe Senator Kathleen, you've posted about it on Twitter. I know you and I follow each other, but I think something similar happens with Gandalf. I really want to go watch Lord of the Rings just so I can see what happens. But I believe Gandalf, when he's Gandalf the Grey, like we see Ahsoka as Ahsoka the White, is like dragged down by some creature and like is presumed to have died and comes back wiser as Gandalf the White. And we know that Dave is going off of Lord of the Rings and Gandalf for Ahsoka's character. So I really think that something like that could happen. But I mean, do you think it's far fetched for us to see Ahsoka die tonight? I mean, I think at first you want to say no, but literally she's practically died on at least two other occasions, on Mortis and the World Between Worlds. Like she
Yeah,
basically, like we assumed that she would have died if the World Between Worlds was not a thing and more eyes
right,
protection.
Right. And I feel like in both those two scenarios, she's been alive because of external factors. So instead of like internally say, and when I mean internal, like internal and external. External would mean that Ezra saved her, and then the daughter saved her, right? Those are the two times that we feel pretty sure that she probably should have died, but didn't, right?
Yeah.
Would you agree with that? Okay. So if
Well,
you,
well, there's
but
only
my,
one thing I would argue there. There's only
okay,
one thing I would argue there is that yes, external factors kept her alive, but the will of the Force kept her alive because
yes,
the
but that's an
embodiment.
external, but isn't that
Yeah,
not an external factor?
well, I guess it would depend on how you define external factor, but I mean, I, if you're saying that it's something besides Ahsoka herself keeps her alive, then yes, I
Yes,
would say external factor.
yes. And that's what I'm
Hmm.
saying is if she goes back into this world between world and saves her own self, are we not already rewriting the rules that Dave has set in Rebels?
Well,
Because if Ezra
I
were
think
to
that's
save Kanan, then Ezra would have died as well. So all of them would have been dead. So there's no really saving yourself there. Like you're making the situation worse. I feel like if she were to go back and quote unquote replay the event, she's technically saving herself. Therefore, you essentially break the rules. That's what I think.
well, I don't think so. The theory goes, I don't think that she's going back in time to save herself and pull her into the world between worlds. I think that she is going to go and the theory would have it be that she goes and will go like literally time travel and reinsert herself back in a timeline where that then she can change things and make things right. Again, I don't necessarily buy into this theory completely.
Well,
And
and
Kermagin
Dave's
brings up a good point here. He says, what have we actually seen that makes us think the world between worlds is coming? The art for the show could just be the map. Anakin, do we really need World Between Worlds to have a Force vision?
no.
No, you don't need the World Between Worlds to have a Force vision. And I, Kermagin, if you've been a senator of the channel for long, have always suspected that when this leak and rumor, because really, if you ask what makes us believe this or what we've actually seen, we haven't seen anything. You could make leaps and theories that makes you make like that we've seen something, but this is all coming down to a leak and a rumor. I have always been
Hmm.
under the impression that Ahsoka will go to like a Jedi temple or some variation thereof and have some type of vision, but you don't even need to do that to have a vision. You see Luke have a vision on Dagobah. Uh,
You
where
see
else have
Ray
we seen?
having the vision,
That's
well,
true.
technically a vision in the sequels. Hearing all the. I mean, is that a vision or is that just
Well, the Force
the
Awakens,
Force?
she has a vision when she touches the saber
Right.
in
I'm
Maz's
I'm
castle.
saying in I'm saying in 9, in the Rise, when like you said, like she gets revived technically
Well, I don't
by
think it's
all the.
necessarily a vision. I think, yeah, she just hears the voices or whatever. But no, you don't have to. I don't think you have to have the world between worlds to have a vision of Anakin.
No.
And it may not be the world between worlds. It could be a variation of the world between worlds. Um, but I do think that I don't know. My gut is just telling me here that Ahsoka is going to have a near death experience, if not die. And that is how we're going to experience, whether you want to call it the world between worlds or what have you. She's going to experience coming into
Something.
contact
Yeah.
with the cosmic force.
Hmm.
Therefore,
I.
Anakin, because Anakin is now part of the cosmic force. So I don't know.
Hmm. But from that trailer, like once again, Anakin says like, "Good job, Ahsoka," or, "I believe in you, Ahsoka," right?
I know you
Like,
could do this, Ahsoka.
I know you could do this, Ahsoka. Then just from that alone makes me think that Ahsoka's going to go through something near near drastic. I don't know, vision or near death or whatever the case may be. She's going to go through something for Anakin to reach out and tell her like, good job, basically. Like, I know you can do this. I need you to keep going.
As your master, it's my responsibility to. And it's like, can we just talk about how amazing that's going to be? I mean, like, let's
Yeah,
just next week. Which, by the way, I'll get to your comment here in a second, Kermigan. But by the way, there's more evidence suggests that we will see Anakin next episode. Is that they're releasing a something called like a Masters and an Apprentice, not a documentary, but some type of like special presentation called Master and
short film.
Apprentice. Something is it releasing on Disney Plus on Friday.
Interesting.
So more evidence to suggest that we will explore the relationship between masters and apprentices. And we know a big part of Ahsoka's character is her master, Anakin Skywalker. So,
Which,
Kermigan,
it,
go ahead.
no, sorry. I'm just gonna say for a prediction of episode 5, or even if this episode happens, if
Mm-hmm.
we get a snips from Hayden to Ahsoka, like "What's up, Snips" or something like that, like something Snips, that's gonna be my dream, honestly.
I mean, how can you how can
How
you
can you
not
not
have
at this? Yeah,
Anakin and Ahsoka and not have Sky Guy and Snips?
yeah.
So anyway, uh Kermigan here says, "Do we know the episode runtime tonight?" I believe it's 42 minutes, but I believe that's with credits. So you're looking at probably about 38 minutes of actual Ahsoka footage. But I think that's about the sweet spot. I think you get any longer and it starts to feel a little slow potentially. Any shorter, and then you kind of have the fandom complains like, "Oh, it's too short." I think the 38 to 45-minute mark is perfect.
Hmm.
Um, but that's just me. I don't know. What do you think about that? Or give your quick thoughts, I guess.
What was the runtime last week?
Last time, I believe with credits or without credits, it was under 30 minutes,
Okay,
if
yeah,
not very close to being under 30 minutes.
then yeah, 30 to 45 minutes, I'd say it's around the sweet spot, because then you're craving more, because last week's episode was good. I'm
Yep.
ready to see this week's episode.
Yeah.
So I feel like you're giving the audience a little bit, and what we got last week wasn't necessarily filler in a way that's
Hmm.
like, you know, uh, where it feels like, why did I watch this, or like, what was the point of this? I
Yeah.
feel like if they're going to keep giving us that same level of content, then 30 to 45 minutes is around right.
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree. Uh, let's see. Catspaw says, "I need to hear Anakin call her Snips."
I mean,
Yes.
why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? If Dave doesn't do that, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Sky Guy. I mean, you had literally had Ashley Eckstein say, "Hey there, Sky Guy," or something to Hayden at Star Wars Celebration, and the whole crowd erupts. So it's like you got to put it in the actual content.
And
So,
who knew at that point that at that you got to remember, at that time everyone hated Ahsoka and didn't like her whining and all that, but yet we get an eruption of her saying "Sky Guy" to actually Hayden Christensen, and the
yeah,
whole crowd erupts. Like, that's gotta feel like a good feeling for Dave, just to have that go full circle.
yeah, yeah. I can't wait. And who knows? I know we're so even Kermagin here says it here with Rosario saying episode 5 is her favorite. It's a fair bet. It's Anakin heavy. Yeah, I think episode 5 is gonna be Anakin heavy. But I mean, we could get some Anakin tonight too. Could
What
sprinkle it
if
in
we
there.
got what if we got Ewan and Hayden and Ahsoka all on a scene? Like
And
Clone
Natalie
Wars,
Portman.
and like Bring the whole crew back. That would
Mace
be great.
Windu, Padawan, or Sid. What did he call her in Clone Wars? Citizen, or
Yeah.
he said something like that. Citizen. Oh man.
I would
Let's
love
bring
it.
Sam Jackson back in. No, yeah, there's so much. There's so much. Curbigen says, "Welcome to everyone." Yeah, welcome to everyone. I know at one point we had 7 people viewing. Really appreciate it. I think that's our record here on the stream is 7 consecutive viewers. So thank you to everyone who's watching. Okay, we can dive back into the speculation a little bit with Ahsoka and all that stuff, but I want to touch on a few things. And just as a here, I'll go ahead and put a banner up just in case. I want to kind of get into some potential spoilers. So
Okay.
I'm going to throw up a new banner here that I completely just erased after I created it. Surrounding the identity of not Balin, Merrick. Spoiler banner. I'm very confused. Very Why is this happening? It's been a long day. It was like a Monday.
Please.
It was like a Monday at work, but I'm sure it was like that for everybody. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. So, spoiler warning potentially. I will give a few. Well, I've given a few people a few minutes to leave now. So, concerning the identity of Merrick, and let's see. Where was your comment, Kathleen? Here we go. Kathleen says, I think Merrick will be a whole other character and not Smoke, but someone that's named from a Clone Wars Jedi that's going to be someone we would never have thought it to be. So that is the theory. Spoiler warning is that Merrick, the rumor, I guess I should say, Merrick is Smoke. Oh, you can't help. I was like waiting for your reaction. I was like, is he gonna laugh? Is he just gonna sit there in silence? And no, you can't help but laugh because he's Smoke. That is the running theory, is that he's just Smoke.
Then he'll be the best Smoke ever.
That is the best Smoke I've ever seen. Oh, it's like, what were you thinking, Dave? But it's like
if that is the truth, this will, I think, it still will be better, I guess, but it's right up there with the High Republic getting a rock that talks.
So there's some precedents for it. The argument for it, the Smoke, is that we've already seen it before. In Tales of the Jedi, the Inquisitor that Ahsoka kills, and we presume she takes that Inquisitor's lightsaber and makes her new lightsaber. He takes the crystals and purifies them, makes them white, whatever. If you go back and watch that, go on YouTube and find it. When Ahsoka kills the Inquisitor, the mask deflates. Go back and watch it. She slices the head off, and the mask just deflates. So that's
you said Clone Wars, right?
Tales of the Jedi. If I said Clone Wars, I meant Tales of the Jedi. So it's the last episode where she kills the Inquisitor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You remember it has like almost like the beak looking thing and the red eyes?
Yeah.
If you go search it on YouTube, when she slices the head off, it just deflates. And so that is the theory, or the argument to support the theory that the Inquisitor is just Smoke. Kermagin says, if Josh's theory of Merrick is correct, I'm going to be very disappointed. I don't know how I feel about it. I feel like here would be my advice or my challenge to the both of us, because I would also be disappointed. But I have faith in Dave. I always have had faith in Dave. Let's just see it play out and see what happens. It could be the coolest thing in the entire world. Nobody thought twice about it when it happened in Tales of the Jedi, but the problem is we didn't have any, there wasn't as much speculation, at least that I don't remember, of who that Inquisitor actually was. And if I remember correctly, the voices are very similar as well. It's very kind of dark and deep robotic type of voice, which is kind of what Merrick sounds like. And so it could be the same. So that would be my challenge is like, yes, does it sound great? No, but let's just see it play out, see if we get any type of explanation for it, and see what happens. And let's just roll with it. Let's just roll with it, and then once we see it on screen and confirm that it's actually true, because it is just a rumor and speculation. But if it's actually true, then we could judge it for what it actually is. I mean, it's kind of crazy to. So I will say this: there's also the whole thing about Sam Witwer being credited. People are now starting to discover that Darth Maul's voice was actually present in the first episode. Did you hear this?
Mm-mm.
So at some point in the first episode of Ahsoka, I can't remember the exact timestamp. You can go back and listen, and you can hear the voice of Maul from Rebels when he says, "Is he the chosen one?" referring to Luke or something like that. That's like echoed at one point in the first episode of Ahsoka. I can't remember at what part of the scene, but that's why people are
Interesting.
thinking that his voice is credited. Anyway,
Mm.
that's a whole other thing. So we'll see. We'll see. Kermagin here says, "Do you really think the Emperor would be using smoke, though?" I don't know.
So I
Go
do
ahead.
have another theory that it could be, and I've never heard this theory being thrown out. What if it's part of like because it shows possibly we're going into like a new world or Peridia, right? That's
Mm-hmm.
the and it's all about apparently like Night Sisters or whatever like that, you know?
Right.
What if it's like from that planet or that system or like has something to do with like Night Sisters or something of that nature?
So that is also the running theory is that yes, it could, since we have Morgan's Elsbeth, who is a Night Sister, confirmed at this point, that she had something to do with the creation of Merrick. And also, there's so much speculation in the show. I mean, so have you heard the names Balin? So Balin's last name is Skull. Shin's last name is Hati. Okay, have you heard the connection between those two last names?
Say their last names again.
Skull and Hati. That's their
Skull
last
Knot.
names. So in Norse
No.
mythology, and I'm going to butcher this, so I'm not going to try to explain it in full. In Norse mythology, there's this whole story of two wolves, which we know Dave loves wolves.
No. Yeah.
One is called Balin, or not Balin, Skull, and one is called Hati. And I believe Skull is the representation of like the dark, and Hati is the representation of the light. And they chase after the sun and the moon. And
Oh,
whenever the wolves catch up to the sun and the moon, that's like the end of the world or something like that. So,
yeah.
all that to be said, I could have totally screwed that up. Someone will have to fact check me on that. But people are thinking, oh, they're wolves. Balin and Shin are wolves. Night Sister magic, they can turn into wolves. It's a whole thing. I don't buy into it, but it goes to show that there's the possibility that Morgan Elsbeth, who I believe she is obviously not the main villain, but she's in control here because she tells Balin, Shin, and Merrick what to do. And so, could she have created Merrick? I believe so. Could she have something to do with Balin and Shin being wolves? Possibly. Don't buy into it, but obviously she's in control here. So, I don't know. I don't know. But back to your point, do you think the Emperor would be using smoke, though? No, unless the Emperor was able to conjure up some force beings through Night Sister magic or Sith magic, what have you. I don't know, Kerbajin. I have a feeling that is not going to, that answer is not
Yeah.
going to satisfy you, but that's just the theory on the table. Kerbajin goes, America's smoke. You need a new clip, Star Wars Democracy. A clip of Anakin saying, my trust in them has been shaken. It's like, but in Dave we trust, Kermagin. In Dave we trust. Follows up and says the Norse mythology. Yeah, so it was the Norse mythology. So
Yeah.
there's a
If you
whole
go
thing
back
on that.
and there's kind of I think that's Norse, right? You got God of War and all that, the God of War
Yeah.
games.
Mm-hmm.
There's that whole if you go play the game, there's kind of the whole thing about that, and uh, like a puzzle or whatever aspect to the game. So yeah,
Yeah,
you're correct on that.
yeah. Going back, because I think I missed one of uh, Senator Kathleen's comments here. Let's see. Uh, Kathleen had said, "No, I don't think Shin will die. I think they're going to kill off Balin later in future episodes, and she'll go full Sith." See, I almost think the opposite, uh, Senator. I think that Shin is going to die, and that's going to drive Balin into the dark side. Because one thing we haven't really talked about in this episode or in this stream yet is that we don't know a lot about Balin and Shin yet. And
Hmm.
I think that, and one of my predictions is that we're definitely going to learn more about Balin in this episode. I definitely
Hmm.
think we're going to learn more about his whereabouts. There's a theory out there that he could be Plo Koon's apprentice. We know that Koon is Plo Koon. I always say Plo Koon. It's just Plo Koon is Dave's favorite Jedi, and we know that that's who found Ahsoka and brought her to the Jedi Temple is Plo Koon. And so, how awesome would that be for them to battle out having that connection going back to Plo Koon? Be cool. But I do think that I don't know. I think Shin is going to die, and that's going to put Balin over the edge and to go full blown dark side, which, as we've already discussed, I think will contribute to the fact that he may kill Ahsoka for that very reason, or have a hand in very brutally or almost killing her, I guess you could say. So get back into just our regular predictions since we're not going full blown spoilers right now. Um, what do you think? Any final predictions or anything you want to go back and touch on? I mean, try not to go overboard here, but at the same time, come on, right? Like that's what Star Wars is for.
I I just feel like we're gonna hear somewhat of Anakin in some form or fashion. I feel like we're getting Hayden back, whether his voice or actual shoot, like actual film on screen time. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like we're getting him back, and if that's the case, then I'm all for this episode going forward.
Yeah, yeah. I I don't want to. I'm like at about 25% probability, like 1 out of 4 chances that we'll hear Anakin. I don't think we'll see Anakin, but I do
Yeah.
think we'll hear Anakin maybe this episode. And I'm at like a 90%, 9 out of 10 chance that we will see Hayden Christensen reprise his role as Anakin Skywalker and perhaps even Darth Vader, either on Mustafar or reliving the Twilight of the Apprentice episodes, or both in the next episode of Ahsoka episode 5, which will just, I mean, can you imagine like after this episode, which I think will be fantastic, by the way, can you imagine the hype leading up to next week? Like,
Oh, if
oh
it's
boy.
if this episode's really good and it really draws us in, episode next week is gonna be nuts.
Yeah, we may have to have another stream somewhere, maybe over the weekend or something, just to catch up on things and just talk about it. Because, hey, it's fun to talk about Star Wars, all things considered, all things that have been going on lately with Star Wars, Lucasfilm, et cetera, et cetera. The greatest thing about this show is that it seems like, for the most part, everybody is liking it at some capacity. I haven't seen like a whole lot of hate towards it. It's not like an Andor by any means. Um, And so that's been great. And just the predictions, like the fact that people are making predictions about Star Killer and like just all these things. And there's so much to talk about. It's been fantastic. So
Hmm.
um a lot of fun
Couldn't
for
agree
sure.
more.
And I really hope we see Ahsoka the White. If anything, I just need Ahsoka and the staff, but I don't know. We'll see, I guess.
Yeah, hopefully. I
We'll
need to
see.
see that.
Yeah. So Anyway, I appreciate y'all being here. Like I said, if you're still here in the live chat or rewatching this, you now have the ability to become a true member and senator of the channel. I don't think that it's in the description right now, but check back a little bit later and I'll put in the description a link to where you can become a join member. In addition, if you go to the main channel page and hit that join button that's near the subscribe button or where the subscribe button will be, you can also become a senator that way. You get access to loyalty badges that will show up in the live chat as we're talking on these live streams. They'll also pop up in the comment section of videos. You'll also get access to custom emojis, little gavels. I think we have the character of the channel, the Jedi. Um, what else? Oh, there's like a Palpatine, like has little gangster glasses for our I Love Democracy segments. So you have access to all that. You also have access to members only live streams, which will kick back up again soon. We're probably going to be doing the members only live streams like almost like a book club type of style scenario, where we'll probably go through like the Thrawn novel or something like that, read a few chapters and just talk about it as a community and stuff like that. And lots of other things planned in the future. If you want to support me as a content creator, that's the best way to do that. You also have the ability to send in super chats and super thanks as well for all the live streams and the videos. You have that ability as well. So really would appreciate your support there. I want to leave everyone with some. Had a little bit of technical difficulty there. A scripture of the day is from 1 John 1 through 7. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship with one another, and the blood of Jesus, his son, cleanses us from all sin. Reach out to me over email, over Twitter, or over our Discord. If there's anything ever you want to talk about, I'm always ready to talk with my community and all you senators in the chat. Get ready. We only have about 10 minutes until episode 4 of Ahsoka. Follow me on Twitter for my initial reactions and join the Discord if you want to join the conversations. But with all of that, I think we go ahead and motion to adjourn the stream, and we'll pick back up tomorrow night where we give our reactions, or at least I will. Journeyman, do you think you're going to be able to make it tomorrow night?
Tomorrow I should. We'll talk.
Possibly. Okay. Either way,
Yeah,
I'll be
possibly.
here. Hope to see all you senators here. Going to go ahead and motion to adjourn the stream. May the force be with everyone always.